Love comes quietly, sometimes in the sound of footsteps following too close behind, sometimes in the steady rhythm of a heartbeat that isn't yours. You won't even notice it at first, until one day you realize the person you swore you could live without is the one you'd take a bullet for. That's how it started for me, with a bodyguard who smiled like trouble and eyes that never left mine. Even when she promised to protect me, not to love me. The rain had just stopped when I saw her for the first time. Black leather jacket, motorcycle helmet tucked under her arm, and that reckless smile, the kind that made you wonder if she'd already broken a few hearts on her way here. "Miss Rivera?" she asked, her voice low but confident. I blinked, caught off guard. "You are..." She extended her hand. "Alex, your new bodyguard." I almost laughed. She didn't look like one. No suit, no earpiece, just that laid-back swagger and eyes too bold to be professional. "Bodyguard? You look more like a troublemaker," she interrupted with a grin. "Yeah, I get that a lot." I crossed my arms. "My father hired you?" "Technically, yes. But I prefer to think of this as teamwork." She smirked, tossing her helmet on the table. I wanted to roll my eyes, but something about her confidence, no, her presence, made it hard to look away. She was tall, fearless, and had that dangerous kind of beauty that could protect you and ruin you at the same time. "Well, Alex," I said, trying to sound unaffected, "just don't make me regret this." She winked. "Too late. You already will. And for reasons I couldn't explain." I smiled. "Rule number 1, Alex said, standing in my living room with her hands on her hips. "I go wherever you go." I frowned. "Even the bathroom?" She raised an eyebrow. "Do you want to test how serious I am about your safety?" I glared at her and she just smirked again. God, that smirk. It was both infuriating and unfairly attractive. I turned away, pretending to fix my hair. "Fine, but I'm not adjusting my life because of you." "Then you'll die beautifully," she said casually, checking the windows. I spun toward her. "Excuse me?" Alex shrugged. "You're being targeted, Miss Rivera. My job is to make sure no one touches you. But if you refuse my protection, there's only so much I can do." The seriousness in her voice caught me off guard. For the first time, I saw the soldier behind the teasing, grin the woman who'd probably seen things far worse than I could imagine. I sat down sighing. "You're impossible." She grinned again, softer this time. "And you're stubborn." Great combo. Somewhere between the banter and silence, I realized the air between us had changed, from annoyance to something dangerously magnetic. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of an engine roaring outside. When I stepped out, Alex was waiting beside a bright orange motorcycle, leaning against it like she owned the world. "You ready for work?" she asked. I stared. "You expect me to ride that?" She handed me a helmet. "It's faster, safer, and honestly more fun." "I don't do fun," I said flatly. "Yeah," she teased. "You look like you do rules and spreadsheets." "Excuse me?" "Come on, Miss Rivera. Live a little." Before I could argue, she had already started the engine, and when I climbed on behind her, hesitant and nervous, I felt her hand guide mine gently to her waist. "Hold on tight," she said, voice low enough to stir something deep inside me. The world blurred as we sped through the city. Wind brushing against my face, her laughter echoing in my ear. For a moment, I forgot the fear, the threats, the rules, and simply felt alive. By the time we stopped, my heart was racing faster than her bike. She glanced over her shoulder. "Told you it's fun." I tried to sound calm. I was only holding on so I wouldn't fall. Her smirk widened. "Sure you were." And right there, under the morning sun, I realized she wasn't just protecting my life. She was slowly, recklessly, breaking into it. Alex wasn't joking about the danger. By the end of the week, I'd received 2 anonymous letters, no return address. No name, just a few words scribbled in red ink. "You can't hide forever." I tried to act calm, but my hands trembled when I showed them to Alex. Her jaw tightened. "They're getting closer." "Who are they?" I asked. She shook her head. "People who don't like what your father's company is doing. You were warned not to get involved, weren't you?" I bit my lip. I didn't think it would come to this. Alex looked at me, then really looked. Gone was her teasing grin. All that remained was quiet determination. "I'll protect you," she said simply. "Even if you hate me for it." I wanted to tell her I didn't hate her, that what I felt was the complete opposite, but instead I nodded and whispered, "Just don't disappear, okay?" Her lips curved slightly. "You'd miss me?" I rolled my eyes. "Only because you talk too much." But she smiled, and in that smile I saw a promise, one that made my heart ache. That night I found her on the rooftop, staring at the city lights through the drizzle. Her leather jacket glistened with raindrops, and she didn't even flinch when thunder rolled above us. "You'll catch a cold," I said, stepping closer. "Can't sleep," she murmured. "My mind's loud." I hesitated before sitting beside her. "About me?" "About everything," she admitted. "You, the threats. The way I keep forgetting that this is just a job." The last words hit me harder than the cold air. "I forget that too sometimes," I confessed quietly. Alex turned her head. Our eyes met so close, I could see my reflection in hers. For a moment, the world disappeared. No bodyguard, no client. Just 2 souls trembling for reasons neither could explain. She looked away first. "You should go inside." I stood, my heart thundering louder than the sky. But before leaving, I whispered, "Next time, don't face the storm alone." Morning sunlight spilled into the kitchen. Alex was already there, leaning on the counter, coffee mug in hand. "Good morning, boss," she said teasingly. I poured my own cup. "Don't call me that." "What should I call you then?" I didn't answer immediately. "Just Liana." Her smirk softened. "Liana, I like that." We stood in silence, the kind that felt heavier than words. Then she asked almost too casually, "Why do you think someone would want to hurt you?" I took a sip, avoiding her gaze. "Because I told the truth when I wasn't supposed to." She nodded slowly. "That's brave." "Or stupid," I murmured. Alex stepped closer, her voice lower now. "Brave, definitely brave." My pulse raced as she leaned in, close enough for me to smell the faint scent of her coffee and leather. "Don't look at me like that," I whispered. "Like what?" "Like you want to break the rules." She smiled, eyes glinting with danger. "Maybe some rules are meant to be broken." And just like that, I knew falling for her wasn't just possible. It was inevitable. The day started normal enough too normal. Alex insisted on driving me to a charity gala downtown, her eyes scanning every car that passed us. "You're tense," I said, glancing at her profile. She didn't look away from the road. "Something feels off." I was about to ask what she meant when the screech of tires filled the air. A black SUV cut us off, then another one from behind. "Get down!" she shouted. Gunfire erupted, glass shattered, and I screamed as Alex slammed the brakes and pushed me down against the seat. Her body shielded mine as bullets pierced the car. Her voice was firm but calm. "Stay down. Don't move." I heard her step out, firing back with precision, shouting commands I didn't understand. When the chaos ended, the air reeked of gunpowder. The attackers sped away, leaving silence and the echo of my pounding heartbeat. Alex returned, breathing hard, a cut on her cheek. "Are you hurt?" I shook my head, trembling. "You could have died." She smiled faintly. Would have been a dramatic way to quit, huh? Tears welled up uninvited. "Don't joke about that." Her eyes softened. "Hey, I'm still here, Liana. Always will be." And before I could stop myself, I reached out and touched her face just to make sure she was real. Later that night, Alex sat on the couch while I cleaned the wound on her cheek. She winced as the cotton touched her skin. "Hold still," I murmured. "Didn't think you had nurse skills," she teased. "Didn't think you'd need saving," I shot back. Her eyes flickered to mine, amused but heavy with something unspoken. Guess we both underestimated each other. For a moment, neither of us moved. The world outside was silent, as if holding its breath. "Why do you do it?" I finally asked. "Risk your life for people like me?" She chuckled softly. "Because people like you don't realize how strong they are. Someone's got to remind them." I froze when her hand gently covered mine. Her skin was warm, steady. "Liana," she said quietly, "you don't have to be afraid anymore." But the truth was, I wasn't afraid of the threats outside. I was afraid of what was happening inside, the way she made me feel safe and alive all at once. We were ambushed again 2 nights later. This time, it wasn't in the open streets, it was right outside my apartment. Alex fought them off, but one of the attackers managed to hit her with a crowbar. She fell hard, bleeding. "Alex!" I screamed, dragging her inside and locking the door. She tried to sit up, groaning. "I'm fine." "Shut up!" I snapped, tears spilling over as I pressed a towel to her wound. "You're not fine." She tried to smile even then. "Didn't know you cared that much." I glared at her through the tears. "Don't you dare die on me." Her hand reached up weakly, touching my face. "Hey, you're crying. That's a first. Because you're an idiot," I whispered. "Maybe, but I'd rather be an idiot who saved you than live knowing I didn't try." Her voice broke off, her eyes fluttering closed. I held her hand tightly and whispered, "Please, Alex, don't leave me. Not like this." Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Inside, I realized something I should have known all along. I didn't just need her protection. I needed her. Alex woke up 2 days later in the private hospital room. Her voice was hoarse, but the first thing she asked was, "Are you okay?" I laughed weakly, wiping my eyes. "You nearly died, and that's your question?" She smiled faintly. "Old habits. Protect first, heal later. I sat beside her bed, exhaustion written all over my face. You scared me to death. Didn't mean to. I shook my head. You always pretend you're fine even when you're falling apart. She looked away. That's the job. No, I whispered. That's you pretending you don't feel anything. Her eyes met mine, then dark, tired, but filled with something deeper. Liana. What? Don't make me cross that line. But I was already there. I reached out, brushing her fingers gently. You already did, I said softly. The silence between us said what neither of us dared to. Alex was discharged a week later, though still limping slightly. I convinced her to stay at my house for safety, I claimed. Though it wasn't just that. One quiet evening, we sat by the fireplace. Her hair was loose, her guard down, her laugh softer than usual. Do you ever regret this? I asked suddenly. This? Saving people. Getting hurt. Living like you could die any day. She thought for a while. No, the only thing I'd regret is not telling someone how I feel when I had the chance. I swallowed hard. Then tell me. Her eyes flickered. Tell you what. I met her gaze. Whatever it is you're too afraid to say. For a moment she froze. Then her voice dropped to a whisper. I shouldn't want you, Liana. You're my client. My responsibility. My rule number one. And yet, I asked. Her breath hitched. And yet, you're all I think about. Before I could speak, she leaned forward slowly, carefully, and our lips met. It wasn't desperate or wild. It was the kind of kiss that said everything words couldn't. Fear, longing, love, and the quiet truth that we were both already too far gone. For a few days, everything felt almost normal. We cooked breakfast together, watched movies, teased each other like nothing else existed, until the night I overheard a phone call. Alex was in the other room, her voice low but sharp. Yes, sir. She's safe. No, she doesn't know. I froze behind the door. She's talking to my father. My heart pounded as she continued. I'll keep her close. Once the merger's finalized, I'll leave quietly. Leave? I stepped away, my stomach twisting. So all of this, every late night talk, every touch, every promise, was part of the plan. When she came out and saw my face, she knew instantly. Liana, wait. I raised a hand, tears blurring my vision. Don't, just don't. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. I shouted. Was I just another assignment? She went silent, guilt written all over her face. And in that silence, my heart broke. I turned away, whispering the only thing I could manage. You said you'd never leave me. Then I walked out, leaving her standing there. And for the first time, Alex didn't try to stop me. I didn't sleep that night. I replayed her words, her touch, her lies over and over. By morning, Alex was gone. No note, no message, just an empty space where she used to be. I told myself I didn't care. But when my father called, his voice cold and distant, my world stopped. You're safe now, he said. Alex has been reassigned. Reassigned? I repeated, trembling. You forced her to leave? She knew the deal, he said simply. Her job was to protect you until the merger was finalized. Now it's done. I hung up, my chest tightening with rage and heartbreak. So she did lie. But why did it feel like something was still missing? Hours later, I found out. One of Alex's old teammates, Marcus, showed up at my door. She didn't leave because of the deal. he said grimly. She left because she found out who's been targeting you. I froze. Who? Your father's partner. The merger was a setup. Alex went after him alone. My heart dropped. She's in danger? He nodded. And she told me one thing before she disappeared. Tell Liana not to look for me. But of course I did. Because love isn't about obeying orders. It's about fighting for the one person who once risked everything for you. I tracked her location through an encrypted message she left behind. An abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city classic. When I got there, the sound of shouting echoed through the walls. Alex was tied to a chair, bruised, bleeding, surrounded by armed men. I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt nothing but fire. Let her go, I shouted, stepping out of the shadows. Their leader laughed. The princess herself. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed the gun from one of the guards' belts, the same way Alex once showed me. My hands shook, but I aimed straight. Touch her, and I swear I'll... Liana, Alex rasped, her voice weak but steady. Don't! But I didn't listen. I shot the light above them, shattering glass and plunging the room into darkness. In the chaos, I cut her ropes and pulled her up. You shouldn't have come, she whispered. Too bad, I said through tears. You protected me. Now it's my turn. We ran side by side, bullets chasing us as the night burned around us. When we finally made it outside, I turned to her blood, sweat, and moonlight painting her face. She smiled weakly. You're crazy. Maybe, I said. But I'm crazy about you. We made it to safety before dawn. The police arrived. The men were arrested. The truth about my father's corruption came out. But none of it mattered compared to the sight of Alex lying in the hospital, bed again alive but pale. I sat beside her, holding her hand. You lied to me, I said quietly. But you also saved me, again. She opened her eyes, tears glimmering. I wanted to tell you everything, but if I did, they would have gone after you sooner. You think I care about that? I said, my voice cracking. You broke my heart to protect me. She smiled faintly. Guess I'm bad at this love thing. I leaned closer, whispering, Then let me teach you. Her fingers tightened around mine, weak but steady. Promise me something, Liana. What? Whatever happens next. Don't wait for me. I shook my head. No, you don't get to tell me that. She looked at me for a long, aching moment. Then she smiled. A soft, tired smile that felt like sunlight after a storm. Then I guess I'll have to come back to you. And when I kissed her, really kissed her this time, it wasn't about protection or guilt or fear. It was a promise that no matter what came next, we'd always find our way back, between bullets, betrayals, and the quiet miracle of love that refused to die. 2 months later, the world went quiet again. The threats were gone. The investigations ended, and Alex, my reckless, stubborn bodyguard, was officially discharged from service. I found her by the pier that evening, sitting alone, watching the sunset bleed into the sea. Didn't think I'd see you again, she said without turning. I smiled. You're bad at disappearing, you know. She chuckled softly. Guess I am. For a while, we just stood there listening to the waves. No guns, no lies, no walls, just the sound of two hearts finally breathing at the same rhythm. When I first met you, I said, I thought you were chaos. And now, Now I know you're the kind of chaos I needed." Alex turned to me, eyes glowing with that familiar mischief and something gentler beneath. "Careful, Liana. You sound like you're in love with your bodyguard." I stepped closer, smiling through tears. "Maybe I am." She grinned, and in one smooth motion pulled me into her arms. The wind blew around us, soft and salt-sweet, and when her lips met mine, it felt like every broken piece had finally found its place. Love didn't come to save us. It came to remind us that we were worth saving, and in a world full of danger and doubt, she was the one thing that always brought me home. In another life, she was just a stranger with a smirk and a gun. In this one, she became the heartbeat I couldn't live without. Because sometimes love doesn't come gently. Sometimes it crashes into your life like a storm. And if you're lucky, it stays to protect you long after the rain.